Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very, very first episode of the Not Quite Serious podcasts. I'm Leon, your host, and here's your other host, Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Why, hi there. World and internet in general.
Yep, this is our first attempt at a podcast, so we'll probably sound really awkward and unnatural, but hopefully get better over time if we record more of these. So.
That's right, I definitely didn't speak over you in that very first line, for example. It's a quality product, this.
No, it's going to be fine. Right. So we've got a list of topics for this coming pod. So we're going to start with talking about a bit of game reviews, games we've played. So we'll go over that. A little bit of gaming news, tech news. Dan's got a little bit of wrestling stuff he wants to talk about.
Yeah, and then we're going to go. The podcast.
Then we're going to go on to the food and drink portion, which ties it all nicely in to the rest of the YouTube channel. So I think it's all tying together nicely.
Sounds like a pretty packed show.
Yeah.
Shall we get stuck in then?
Yep, so let's go. The first thing I wanted to talk about, while it's like a month old, but it's semi-fresh, because this is the first podcast we've ever done, so was the games we've been playing recently. So I'll go first. We've had the new Crash Bandicoot remaster came out recently, and I've really wanted to talk about this. And we don't really cover gaming on the rest of the channel, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to sort of gush about this game and how much I really, really, really like it.
Well, they've really hyped this one up for months and months, so it's understandable that you're going to be expecting a lot from this.
Yeah, they had the guy dressed as Crash at E3, and I think they've had it's Vicarious Visions they've had doing this, whose recent works were okay, I have to say, but after having played this over the past couple of weeks, I only managed to get it a couple of weeks ago. I have to say they've really knocked it out of the park. They've done a phenomenal job, especially considering just how old these games are, and they've remastered 3 old PS1 games from 20 years ago. So
I think they've done an PS1 era. There's probably nothing left now to remaster. They're going to have looked at it and rebuilt it from the ground up just to get this to exist anymore.
Yeah, from what I read, they were given the source code to the original games by Naughty Dog, but most of it was unusable, so they took the original level geometry and have basically built the games again from the ground up based around the original level geometry and everything they could cobble together.
That's pretty impressive.
Cobbling together sounds like they've not done a very good job at it, but they've done a phenomenal job with what they had.
That's good.
Not finished any of the games in the collection myself yet. I've been jumping back and forth between games, having a bit of a play. Crash 2 is just as good as I remember it being. Personal favourite. Crash 3 Warped. Excellent game. But there's been a bit of controversy around the first Crash game in the remaster. I think you've heard about this.
So the first game was a lot different from the other two, wasn't it? It didn't have the little hub world bit, the 5 levels at a time type deal.
Yeah, the first game had the 3 islands, and you sort of swim to the next island. That's where all your levels. It's like more like Mario, actually, more like Mario 3 and Mario World, with all the levels in a line.
Yeah, and the navigation of it. The levels were a lot much sort of more linear, more I guess all the games are the same in this that way, but the first one was
Yeah, they're all
more
linear.
intense in the way that it was.
Yeah, it's more of a precision platformer, the first game, with lots of pitfalls and things to instantly kill you, and it's a lot more devious. And but the controversy comes around the the way that Vicarious Visions handled the jumping in the remaster. So what they've done is, to make the three games consistent, is they've taken one sort of jumping physics style for Crash and applied it across all three games. Which, you know, if you think about it from their perspective, you're going to have a lot of new players come into this series because the series is nearly 20 years old. So there's a lot of people out there who've probably never ever played Crash Bandicoot. So you're going to have a lot of new players coming in. So you want a consistent control style across all the games,
Yeah, it makes
wherever
sense.
possible. Yeah. So, but the problem comes when you realize the problem comes in because they've used Crash 3's jumping style and applied it across all three games. Now in Crash 2, that doesn't make too much of a difference. There's some things here and there that feel a little bit different because of the way they've changed the way things work, but when applied to Crash 1, it's made a huge difference to how you have to play the original game. So players of the game from back in the day who've developed this muscle memory, and over the years that they played the game, have jumped into this game thinking they can play it in the exact same way, and they're dying over and over and over again because it just doesn't work anymore. You can't play it the same as you used to because the jumping physics are entirely different. Crash falls faster out of his jumping arc. You have to jump further, you have to keep your finger pressed on the X button. Well, letting go of the X button just causes Crash to drop. So it's a whole new play style, and I've noticed a lot of people.
I did have a quick go of that game earlier on in the weekend, and I think I did notice that I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but the game did feel weird when I was jumping somehow. But I guess you've kind of spelled out why I was
Yeah, it
really
feels.
struggling on them jumps.
It just feels a little bit different. I'm not going to say it feels bad because the game's perfectly playable. It's just that certain levels, I'm looking at High Road. That level can that level can go and eat one. Yeah, certain levels are more difficult because of the new jumping style. Not that I think it ruins the game personally, but Vicarious Visions recently came out and confirmed that the game is and does play differently, because it was up in the air. People were arguing on forums. GameFAQs was in flames over people arguing whether it was whether people were remembering right or not. Get good, all that kind of inflammatory posting. Reminded me why I don't frequent GameFAQs anymore. But basically, according to this article on Eurogamer, which they've clickbaitingly titled "Dev confirms the Crash Bandicoot remaster is harder than the original. No, you weren't imagining it."
Whoa.
They've basically it basically reads, the Crash Bandicoot developer Vicarious Visions has confirmed that the remaster is harder than the original after fans spent the past 3 weeks, as of the writing of this article, trying to work out why it feels different to play. And a Twitch streamer named Ding Dong VG, which I think is a great name.
Yeah, he sounds like a real serious dude.
So Mr. Ding Dong, we'll call him, created a video providing a visual demonstration of an apparent problem with the jumping. The footage suggested Crash's jumping arc was sped up, which means he lands slightly quicker than the original, which is kind of what I was trying to get at before. He feels like he falls very slightly faster.
Huh.
And Vicarious Visions have confirmed that yes, it is different. They have adjusted it, but yeah,
Well, didn't they do something quite similar with the Mario remasters for the Super Nintendo? You know, when they came out in the compendium of Mario ones through
yeah,
3, they were
yeah. The
tweaked
Mario All
slightly.
Stars,
Yeah.
it it is slightly different. Yeah, a lot of people go back to those and go, yeah, it's just it plays exactly the same as the old NES, the old NES games. But if you actually go back and compare those side by side, you find that in the remake, they've Mario is very slightly floatier than he was in the original, which makes it plays very slightly differently. It's not in a bad way, and I think that's the, those Mario games are never you know too terribly challenging in the first place. I mean, the original one is. They're tricky games, but they're relatively speaking quite easy.
How far are
But
you on the new Crash 1 now? You like on the Island 2, Island 3?
I'm at Island 3,
Pretty far in now.
finding it quite good. Yeah, the developer has done everyone a solid, I would say, and made it so that you don't have to go through each level without dying in order to get the gem. You only have to do that about 5 times now because it only applies to the coloured gems now.
Huh.
So, in that sense, the original Crash is actually easier than it used to be because you can die as many times as you like and still get the gems.
Oh yeah, I
So,
remember my brother originally getting all those gems. That was an ordeal. Something I
absolute
could never
ordeal.
do.
I never did that when I was a kid. I could never manage it. But so yeah, I'm gonna say, you know, for me, yes, they've made the jumping arc different. I'm not going to say that it's especially bad because the game's still perfectly playable. You can still beat it. You can still do no death runs on all the stages.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly playable. I'm not going to tell anyone to get good, but I will tell everyone to just practice. Practice more. If you're
How
having trouble,
much?
get some
How much is
practice.
this package?
It goes for around. I think it retails for about 35 quid. So I got mine for about 28. Depends where you buy it from.
Ah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
You're getting three
get
full
it.
games. It's a pretty good value,
It's
I would
three full
imagine.
games. It's good value. Yeah. So apart from the quirks with the first game, the second game controls perfectly solid. It's a little bit different in play. The ice physics in the second game are a little bit, I would say, iffy,
Hmm.
but it still plays well. You can still do it. Cold hard crash can go can go die in a fire though.
Oh, I take it that's the level. Is that the one with the polar bears?
And no, that's the one with a series of nitro crates which you need to jump over and under and between,
Ah,
and then come back on yourself and do it again.
well, good
So
luck on that one.
yeah, that level is very hard in the original and slightly harder in this version due to the tweaks to the ice physics. But as I say, still perfectly playable. You can still do it. It's
Yeah.
just it's going to take a lot of gritting your teeth, trying not to snap the controller in half, and just getting it done. And Crash 3, because the jumping physics were taken from that game in the first place, plays beautifully. And they've tightened up the plane flying stage, so you've actually got a reticle, so you can aim now, which makes a nice change. The only thing they've tweaked in that, which I would say for the worse, is the jet ski stage, which now has actual water physics.
I guess that's quite a
So
change considering.
yeah, it never used to have water physics. They just sort of obviously simulated what water might be like, but now that stage plays entirely differently because of the new water physics, and it takes a lot of getting used to. But it's still perfectly doable. You can still get those platinum time trial relics, so
Yeah.
nothing really to worry about. So in all, considering the changes, considering Vicarious Visions has owned up to the changes and has basically said they're not going to patch it because that's the way they made the game deal with it.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair enough, to be honest, because you can still beat all the games. Um, I definitely think the collection is worth picking up if you're all interested in Crash Bandicoot. If you had it as a kid, you've probably already got it by now, so this means nothing to you. If you're on the fence about getting it and you're listening to this, and why the hell are you listening to me and not reading actual reviews online?
That's right.
but go out and get it. And yeah, if you've never been interested in Crash Bandicoot before, it's a perfect place, perfect jumping off point into the series. And hopefully Activision will greenlight more Crash games to come, because this collection seems to be selling like mad.
Yeah.
And yeah, so hopefully they'll greenlight some more Crash Bandicoot games that can be made in a similar style, but like fully updated, all new levels or new. That'd be fantastic.
So you'd like a Crash Bandicoot 4, but with it's just a whole new game built on the
yeah,
same engine.
but yeah, I'd like a Crash 4 that isn't Wrath of Cortex for the PS2 and GameCube.
You don't want Crash Team Racing?
I think Crash Team Racing still holds up. I don't know. You can buy that on the PS3. Oh, I suppose you can buy all the originals on the PS3 as well on the PSN. But
Yeah, it's possible.
if there was a way to get Crash Team Racing to current consoles, maybe even PC, I'd be up for that. Be up for some more Crash Team Racing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's my recommendation. So go out and grab it.
Pretty solid review there, Leon. Don't think I'll be giving as a solid a review for any of the games that I've been playing.
You mean pretty sprawling and you're like never sticking to the same topic for more than half a second, sort of meandering review?
Exactly, that's what I said. Pretty solid,
Yeah,
strong and stable.
yeah. Hashtag strong and stable.
Yeah.
So, and the only other thing I've been playing recently is the Final Fantasy XII remake. I just wanted to quickly say that if you weren't sold on Final Fantasy XII before, the Zodiac Age is one hell of a remake. It adds a job system, so you can choose separate jobs for all your characters. They each get 2 jobs that stack on top of each other. So you can have like a knight / white mage. So you can have a knight with healing abilities, stuff like that. You can build your characters however you like. And just briefly, I want to say I wasn't a fan of Final Fantasy XII when it first came out. I found it a bit of a slog. I found it kind of boring. I mean, I was a lot younger then, obviously, because it's like was it 10, 12 years old?
It was
something like that.
Bad egg of the sort of modern Final Fantasy, 7 and up.
It was.
Really
I know a lot of
stand
people.
out.
Yeah, I know a lot of people loved it back on the PS2, and I'm not going to poo-poo any of that love. But for me, and among the people that I talked to, we couldn't get on with it. And I have to say, the Zodiac Age has changed my mind. I'm absolutely in love with that game now. I can't wait to finish it. And it's definitely an improvement over. Well, I say an improvement over. It's definitely preferable over Final Fantasy 15.
If you like Final Fantasy 10, would you enjoy this?
It's very different. If you like the world of Ivalice from like Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Advance, those games, then I would say Final Fantasy 12 is definitely. I'm gonna put out a very unpopular opinion now, but I really don't like Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it is incredibly obtuse, very difficult, very unbeginner friendly. It's very difficult to get into, and I've never been able to sit down and put a lot of time into that and get on with it. Every time I sit down to try and play it, something irritates me about the game and I turn it off.
Yeah, it's definitely understandable from my perspective. I play a lot of these strategy type games. I even gritted my teeth and played a bunch of Tactics Ogre. And
Tactics Ogre, very difficult game.
Never beat that game, but I got about halfway through it until it was impossible. But I enjoyed it. But with the uh, Final Fantasy Tactics, there were just so many systems in there that felt arbitrarily limiting, that just seemed to exist for no real good reason. Particularly those judges.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unpopular opinion to not like that game, and I understand that. Loads of people love that the Final Fantasy Tactics series, but yeah, I could never get on with it myself. But I enjoy the world of Ivalice, and Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, less so the original. I mean, it puts you in that world when all the races still existed, and it's great. I really enjoy it.
So
Of
how are you
course, shout out
saying?
to.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, go on. No, go on. Go on.
How are you saying that compares to Final Fantasy 15? Do you like it more or less?
I'd say I think I prefer Final Fantasy 12 over Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, that's quite
Final Fantasy
surprising.
15 definitely shows that it's from a time where Square Enix are struggling to make a great, grand, massive feeling adventure now. Final Fantasy 15, I enjoyed it, but going back to the Final Fantasies from a few years ago, you can see the difference in talent there. It's definitely
It's less
Final Fantasy
epic,
12.
isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Final Fantasy 15 tries to be incredibly epic, but it just sort of peters out towards the end, which is a real shame. But the scale of what they did with Final Fantasy 12 back in the day has always impressed me, and now I can appreciate it for what it is in the new game.
Hmm.
Absolutely fantastic. Love it.
That's good. I'm glad
That's just
they
my
went back and fixed it, basically.
yeah. Basically, they've fixed it for people like me who didn't enjoy it in the first time, and they've made it different enough that people who really love the game can get into this and find something new to enjoy. So, highly recommended.
And were you going to shout out?
I was just going to give a quick shout out to Vagrant Story for the PS1. Also takes place in Ivalice and is a fantastic game. If you can find yourself a copy of that, you can also buy it on the PlayStation Network. Give that a play. Plays nothing like either 12 or Tactics. It's a very interesting little game, well worth a go.
Surprisingly, they've had this Ivalice world just existing for so long since the PS1 era.
Yeah, they've not done anything with it recently. It's a real shame. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Maybe they have, and I'm just really ignorant. But yes, let's pretend I'm not really ignorant and move on.
Well,
So, what have you been playing recently?
well, recently, gosh, my kind of main game has been the Trails of Cold Steel 2, and that's on the PS Vita. It's like
Yeah.
It's like a very light RPG, sort of like Final Fantasy, but you're not really gonna be overtaxed by it or anything. It's very
No, I
easy.
just want to briefly interrupt you there and mention that myself, me and yourself are probably two of the 15 PlayStation Vita owners in the UK.
Greatest system in the world, PS Vita. It's underappreciated.
Such a shame that Sony took such a crap on it. But
Yeah,
anyway, sorry, go on.
yeah. It's a sort of very story based. You play as this group of students that rise up through this military school, and they eventually go on an adventure to try and overcome this war that's enveloping the kingdom, so to speak.
Hmm.
And it just kind of builds from there. The second game really adds a load of extra gameplay techniques to the first. Like you can transform now, and you can summon in this mech type thing to help in the battle. They just kind of they've really pushed the boat out a bit, a lot more so than the Trails of the Sky 1 and 2 differences. So those two games are very similar, but with slight improvements. Whereas
Yeah.
Cold Steel is a really, really big improvement.
This is the series that's been out in Japan for a while now, isn't it? And they're only just getting around to releasing it in the West.
Cold Steel is one of their newer games. They tend to make games. They seemingly have the engine of the previous generation. So these Cold Steel games, although they're on the Vita and PS4, they look like they were made on a PS3. And the
Yeah,
Trails of
yeah,
the Sky games look like they're on a PS1, kind of.
yeah, yeah. I sort of got that feel when I've dabbled in those games in the past.
But you know, the
They feel
looks
like old games.
don't let the looks get you down. They're a pretty solid game and enjoyable stories. Uh, that I wouldn't say they're like as grand as Final Fantasies, but they're not as hard either. And if you're a sort of ailing, practically near enough casual gamer like me, you're probably going to enjoy this one a lot more than someone who's a bit more hardcore like Leon, who plays the tougher, grindier games, who's broke his teeth on them.
I can't pretend that Final Fantasy games are difficult at all, but yeah. Thanks for bigging up my skill in gaming.
uh, yeah,
So
so
if you're one of the other 13 PS Vita owners, so you'd recommend Trails in the Sky and Trails of Cold Steel.
yeah, they're really good games. They're really long, and you just kind of get into them. They don't force you to grind too much either. It's not really. You can just kill every enemy you see as you go because they're there wandering around the map. You don't have to
It's
go
good,
back
yeah.
and fight them again and again to get strong enough.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that finds grinding sort of therapeutic, but I know you're the kind of person that gets very irritated if you have to grind.
Yeah, I'm very impatient.
So, yeah.
The Trials of Cold Steel 2, I'd recommend it, but
Yeah.
if you're anything like if you like your grindy games, if you like really tough, challenging games, you're probably not going to like these ones. The storylines, they're not like the greatest storylines in the world, and they're very tropey. You like your silly anime tropes, they're all packed in there for you to enjoy. If you don't like your tropes, then I'd steer clear.
Fair enough, fair enough. Good, good.
If you are looking forward to Trails of Cold Steel 3 and you're one of the 15 people with a Vita, then you're out of luck because that one's only on the PS4. You're going to have to use remote play to stream it to your Vita, which is how I'll probably play it, just so it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I hope the
that's
control scheme lines up.
that's how I played a big chunk of Persona 5 actually. Just remote play on the Vita while I was sat in bed. It works like a charm, so I can't see it being much different with this game.
Good. That gives me hope.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to what else I've been playing?
Yes, tell us about the other thing you've been playing.
So, everything else has been taking place on the mobile.
hmm
Fire Emblem Heroes, a Nintendo game on a mobile.
Yep.
What?
Very good game.
And yeah, it's surprisingly solid, and I've played it for a reasonable while now. I got up to around about chapter 8, chapter 9, and it's got a light story mode to it where there's a little bit of story before and after each set of 5 levels. Not so much that you're just heaving through reams of story, so you're not.
Yeah, you need something short and snappy on a mobile, really, don't you?
Yeah, you kind of start to feel at the very beginning of the game, but then suddenly the story lightens up, so you've got this time to just pick up and put it down whenever you need.
Yeah.
It's like 4-on-4 kind of gameplay, although the enemies can have 5, and I've not seen them with 6 yet, but they seem to have the capacity to do things that you can't, just to make it a bit harder.
Yeah, and it has that Fire Emblem rock paper scissors mechanic with the swords and the axes and bows, not bows, flying lances, isn't it?
Yeah,
Swords, axes, lances. Yeah.
it's a strategy game, so you got your top-down, I guess isometric, but it's not quite isometric view.
Yeah, sort of pseudo isometric.
Like with Final Fantasy Tactics, although really you don't do so much other than you move one guy onto another guy and then he does his attack, the guy counters, and then that's the end of that battle. There's not too much more to it than that.
Yeah, it's a very sort of watered down Fire Emblem experience for mobile, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say I enjoyed the one of the earlier 3DS Fire Emblems tremendously. This isn't anywhere near that level of enjoyment, but it's still a pretty solid little game. It does give you the ability to purchase the whole game if you want to in the options as well, in case
Oh, fantastic.
you're sick of waiting on timers and things.
Also has microtransactions, doesn't it? How are you finding those? Have you sank any money in at all, or are you just playing
I've
for
not
free?
even, at the moment, I've not even managed to deplete my stamina yet. There's not really been a situation where I've needed to. Maybe really later in the game, maybe you really have to sink a lot of
Mm.
hours in before you hit that wall.
So
Perhaps
it's one where
counting
you
on
can
that.
just jump in, play for 30 minutes, jump out.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can level up your heroes and things. I guess it just depends how much silliness you want to go into leveling up your heroes, because that's what
Try and get all those
you
5-star
buy.
heroes.
Yeah, yeah. Other than that, there's
Cool.
not too
Cool.
much to say. It's got a nice operatic score at the beginning, which really adds some quality, a touch of class to it. There's a
Yeah,
singing
yeah.
theme.
Very good. Yeah. From what I played of that, it seems pretty good. I mean, strategy games not really my thing, but I had a bit of a dabble, and it seems solid.
It's free, and if you're looking for something to idle away on your phone for a bit, then just give
Yeah,
it a go. You
absolutely.
definitely do need the internet constantly to play it, though. It doesn't run offline at all.
Yeah,
Every
that's
click
been
of the
it.
button needs authentication on the server. I tried it whilst
Uh,
roaming, and it didn't work.
that's been an issue with most of Nintendo's offerings on mobile so far, hasn't it? I know it was a big contention with Super Mario Run.
Oh yeah.
Um, you can't even play the offline portion of the game offline. You always have to be connected to the server, which is it's a bit of a pain for people with a data cap on their mobile, like myself.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it chews up much data, but it's still doing data that you can't
yeah,
easily keep a track of.
it's enough if you're a poor kid with only 500 megs of data. So, but yeah, let's tell us what other game you recently tried on mobile.
Oh yes. So
We both recently tried on mobile. I'll let you
for
let
a
you head this
few
one.
weeks they've been pushing this one, and it looked kind of intriguing. Final Fantasy: A New Empire. It's like a city builder, and the idea is you build a fantastic Final Fantasy city, your own version of Insomnia from Final Fantasy 15 to defend against whatever they throw at you.
Sounds
And
pretty good until you notice which company made it.
wow, yeah,
I can't remember the company name. I've
they
not
the,
got this written down.
they the
Terrible
Game of
host.
Wars people.
The guys that made Game of War. I can't remember the name of the company.
Yeah, Final
Do some quick.
Fantasy.
We'll do it in real. We'll do it
Quickly,
live.
quick, yeah, A New Empire, and it's loading, and da 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 da. Oh, it's not even showing it. A
Google
Polygon
failed.
article. There we go. New Empire. Uh, no,
Uh,
can't find
no.
it.
Okay. Right. Okay. All you need to know is it's the guys that made Game of War. So Final Fantasy: A New Empire is literally Game of War with a Final Fantasy skin.
Yeah, Game of War, huh?
Yeah. So to put
You're.
it,
It's just so badly put together.
yeah, to put it bluntly, it's crap in it.
It's ugly, it's slow, it's glitchy. I mean, I don't know if it was just my phone, but mine's just again Samsung Galaxy S6 Plus. It should be more than enough for the
It's
job.
it's so buggy that when I played it, it skipped the tutorial and didn't tell me how to play.
The
So, and never having
developer
played
is
Game of War,
MZ,
I
by the
had no
way.
idea. Ah, yes.
I don't even know. That doesn't even Machine Zone. Wow,
Machine
that's
Zone.
odd.
Yeah, to keep a steer clear of the Game of War people.
We literally gave up on it minutes in. I don't know if we should have tried harder, but it was just so bad and so blatantly Game of War mashed into the Final Fantasy skin The
Well, like I said, the game completely skipped a tutorial, and I couldn't find a way to re-enable the tutorial, so I didn't know how to play.
the tutorial ran
So I
for
gave up.
me, and it was bad.
I gave up there and then when the game refused to teach me how to actually play it. So
So there you go. That's Game of sorry, not Game of War.
game
Final
of game of
Fantasy,
final
a new Game of War Empire.
game of Final Fantasy.
Steer clear.
Yeah, definitely not very good. Not at all.
Ugh. Well, that's the games. How about that gaming news?
We've got a little bit of gaming news to talk about. Um, so wow, that chunked up about 30 minutes
Yeah.
talking about the games we've played. So we've got a little bit of gaming news just to cap off this section. Just a couple of days ago, actually, as of recording the podcast, Sony sent out an email to all PlayStation Plus members announcing that PlayStation Plus prices are going up, at least in the UK. I think it's worldwide, but yeah, I got the email the other day.
Yeah, and it seems just kind of you're thinking, well, why are they increasing the price just suddenly? I mean, maybe it's something to do with Brexit. Maybe the pound has dropped in value and they need to do it.
Maybe. I mean, but the price is going from $39.99 per year to $49.99 per year. So it's like a 25% increase.
It's quite a
And the
biting
quarterly the
increase.
quarterly
Yeah.
price is going from $14.99 to $19.99. So yeah, it's just getting exponentially more expensive. But monthly, the price is only going up by £1 to $6.99.
I have seen some articles sort of rumouring that they might be adding some PlayStation Now functionality thrown in. There's also
If
equal rumours saying that that might be false, but let's hope.
if we're getting more value, more bang for our buck, so to speak,
Because if they were
then
throwing
I'm
in
all for the increase.
PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games that we could play on our PlayStation 4, two of them every month, then that would be an incredible boon to the service.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to. I'd say the value prospect of PlayStation Plus has been going down over the years. If this extra 25% per year means they can pour more funds in and increase the value prospect of the service, then I'm all for it. If, however, the service remains exactly the same, I can see some of the more frugal PlayStation Plus members dropping it altogether. I don't think it'll
Yeah.
cause them to hemorrhage users, but I can see some people will
Well, you've got to have it to play
definitely.
online at the end of the day.
Very true, very true. You want to play your CODs and your Battlefields, you need it.
I believe
Um,
if you can still purchase, your packs now for the
bas-
original price, right?
Basically, yeah. If you want PlayStation Plus to continue and don't want to have to pay the new price, you've got until the 31st of August
Wow, so you've
to
literally got, well, yeah,
a
1 month.
month.
Yeah.
So you've got, as of the recording of this podcast, you've got exactly a month to get it at the original £39.99, and then it
Yeah.
goes up by £10.
If you
So
buy a whole year's worth, then you're delaying the problem for 1 year, as long as you
yeah,
can
you
afford a
just
whole
don't
year's
have to
worth.
worry about it for a year, as long as you remember that in a year's time you'll get charged £50.
Ooh, yeah, ouch. Yeah, I can see them for sale here on there.
According to Eurogamer, this is a PAL region-wide price hike, so it's covering Europe, so it's nothing to do with Brexit.
Oh.
So that's according to Eurogamer. The price in euros is increasing to $59.99, $24.99, and $7.99 respectively.
Well, I guess it is what it is. Hopefully they've got their reasons and they're not just doing it to get more money. And They're
Yeah,
not
well,
struggling, are they? Sony are doing quite well at the minute, aren't they?
from what I gather, they seem to be doing fine at the moment. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Could be trying to. I mean, if they're trying to increase the value prospect of it by pumping more, by taking more money from people to bump into it, could be in the wake of the Switch's online service coming soon. But the Switch's online service is going to be really cheap.
How cheap?
So I can't remember. I don't have the figures, but it's not too terribly relevant what the figures are. But it's a heck of a lot cheaper. But you have to jump through a heck of a lot more hoops to actually use the service.
Ah.
Which
Is it
I'm
out
not.
yet? That service? Can you play online with
I
a Switch?
I believe it's coming out for free. It's either soon. It's either already out or it's coming out soon,
Hmm.
and then for a few months, and then after at the beginning of next year, they're going to start charging for it.
Ah.
So it's going to come out for free, so people can use it, get used to it, decide if they want it.
Get you hooked.
Yeah, get you hooked in with that one
What,
NES game a month. No, they've changed their tune on that, I believe.
what, what is the
I
offering now?
believe they'll be offering a small library of games to play for as long as you have the membership,
Okay.
which seems quite fair.
It's NES
Yeah.
games. It's nice. You'll have a free legal copy of that. Well, free. I say free. It's the cost of the service, but
For as long as it sounds like it runs the same as PSN. If you can, as long as your subscription is ticking over, you have access to the games. Once that ends, they cut off your access.
it's a bit of a thing though because these are described as free games, right?
Yeah,
Meaning they're free games. That means you're
they're
not paying for these games with your service. Your service is just the online connectivity part, right?
they're rented for free.
So if they give you 100 free games, that's still not technically part of your service, so to speak. That's just freebies added onto the service. You're not paying for that.
Free game rentals is basically what it is, isn't it?
Blockbuster never stood a chance.
Never saw Blockbuster ever giving away free game rentals.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, you did. Whenever you bought a new console from them, you got several several months worth of free game rentals with it.
That's right. You used to buy the odd bit of hardware from there, didn't you? Blockbuster.
Yeah, I picked up my Wii U from Blockbuster and got something like 2 months worth of free game rentals with it. So back in the day, back in the day, it's only a few years ago before Blockbuster disappeared.
Is that about sum up our gaming news?
Oh well, yeah. Let's segue seamlessly into the next topic.
Oh yeah. So in the world of tech news in general, I've picked
Just
out.
have a yeah.
I've
Go on.
picked out a story about graphic cards and how there's a shortage. It's kind of started back in April when this new e-currency sort of came on the market, cryptocurrency. That's one where you solve complex algorithms, and when you've done enough, you earn so much of this currency.
Like bitcoins, basically.
I think it's called Ethereum. Ethereum.
Yeah, it's basically another form of bitcoins, isn't it?
The same idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Bitcoins is just the most popular and common one. I think even some real banks regulate that now.
Yeah, I've noticed in more places you can pay with bitcoins nowadays.
The problem with the Ethereum is that it came out with such a high value that people have been buying up graphics cards to mine it. And that's become such a blown out of proportion issue that they're running out of them in shops and people having to wait for them, and to get a hold of graphics cards you're having to buy them online, and the prices on Amazon are higher than the actual original listed price.
Literally making graphics cards hard to come by. It's crazy.
It's hopefully it's on the way now. I heard that the currency dropped 50% of its value on its trading value. So people are starting to sell graphics cards again. But now it's going to have loads of second-hand graphics cards that you can't trust anymore because they've been running 24/7, mining them coins.
Yeah, yeah. I'd stay clear of aftermarket graphics cards
If you
for a
test them, they'll
while.
seem fine initially, but they'll probably have a good chance of falling apart. You want to make sure you've got a good warranty. But even you
Yeah,
have
if
the
they've been.
warranty, you still have the bother of dragging it back into the shop or uninstalling it. And when you do a warranty, often they have to test it to confirm, and that can take weeks. So you really want to avoid having to use a warranty if it's a security blanket, and it's supposed to never be used.
Yeah, definitely. If you just avoid second-hand graphics cards, at least for the time being. If you try not to buy second-hand graphics cards at all, but if you must,
The problem is
wait.
it started off being the AMD cards, and then all the high-end GeForce cards, including the 1060 and the 1080. So basically, all the best cards are the ones that they've been going after. I guess you could buy a mid-range
Yeah,
graphics card nowadays, but that's probably your best. Maybe the 960.
yeah. If you want a top of the line, you want some top of the line Titan X's or something, I'd go for them new.
You might be okay if you went for a Titan because they're stupidly expensive. That you wouldn't. The crypto people might not have gone for them due to their not being, economical for their scale.
Yeah,
So
but if
they're
cryptocurrency is worth millions, then you're just
whoa.
raking it back in, aren't you?
I think it was something like at the peak. It was like 2 months for a graphics card. 2 to 6 months. I don't know, but there was a certain time of which it took for you to make back your money, and a time of which the graphics card will blow up, which was like a couple. I think it was 2 months to make back the money and 6 months for the card to just blow up. But then it's
Yeah,
dropped down to 4 months now because it halved in value.
and yeah, hopefully for all those that want graphics cards, it will keep dropping so that we can get reasonably
Get them
priced
again. Yeah.
graphics cards back on the market that aren't going to explode as soon as you put them in your PC.
Graphics cards.
And you're after a new PC at the moment, aren't you? So
Yeah, I'm worried it's going to delay the delivery of said PC because they have to order in the parts and build. It's like one of them just-in-time systems where a customer buys something and then they order it in. And normally that should be quite quick, but in this particular case, it might be horribly delayed.
well, fingers crossed. Just hope you can get your new rig sorted.
Yeah, before I'm old.
Yeah.
Well, that's the tech news.
That's the tech. All done. What a smooth segue into the next topic, which
which is a topic that I'll be also leading, and
something close to your heart.
good old
significantly further from my heart than it is yours.
Well,
but
I'm not always going to have much to say on wrestling. I mean, it is just a storyline. It's equivalent to talking about the soap operas, really.
But go ahead. I find these things fascinating and only ever really hear about them secondhand anyway. So.
Well, the latest WWE pay-per-view was Battleground. I believe that was what it was called, and it was kind of headlined by the Punjabi prison match. I mean, just that name alone has got to put fear in your heart, right? It's like a cage match, but with an additional cage put around it. So the idea is you have to get out of the first cage by climbing over it or going through one of the 4 doors that are openable, but you can only open them once.
Right.
The referee stood outside, opens the door when you call for it to be opened, and then holds it open for 60 seconds. If you fail to get through the door, then it gets padlocked shut. I mean, you could just walk up to a door, not call for the referee, and then pull it open with your hands because it's just pulled open by a rope that's tugged by the referee. But, that's...
That's not video gamey enough, though, is it, Dan?
No. Open the door! Because this match was, of course, by the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, and Randy Orton, the Viper.
two wrestlers that I have in fact heard of.
Jinder Mahal, of course, being ripped. His body has been reshapen. Goodness knows how he's done that. I dread to theorize. So yeah, once they've escaped from the middle, the middle bit, they have to climb over the outer wall, which is taller. It's like 15, 20 feet tall.
It's a good climb.
So Jinder Mahal manages to get into the outer block, and Randy Orton's there, stuck in the ring. He's not managed to follow him. All the four doors are closed, and Jinder Mahal is climbing up the outside. How can Randy possibly catch up? And he just immediately sprints up the side of the thing as if it was nothing, and then jumps onto the outer wall to match up with Jinder, and then slowly starts climbing the outer wall, because, you know, that's how wrestling gamification works.
You'd never guess that that wrestling wasn't 100% real, would you?
No. It's a clearly deep simulation, especially when Jinder Mahal's cronies showed up, and they didn't even climb over the wall. They just pushed their whole bodies through the giant squares that the wall's made of. Because yes, the Punjabi prison is big enough for you to just fit your body through the wall. I mean, the wrestlers couldn't have won that way, because I guess the rule was to climb over. So that's the rule. You can't just go through it. But
it needs to be more gamey, doesn't it?
I kind of like a gamey side to it. It's fun. The match is obviously really silly and maybe a little overcomplicated with that doors system. It probably is the most complicated match.
Manages to get a laugh out of you, though.
They have. It's pretty match because they've got this giant bamboo structure, well, steel with bamboo wrapped around bits of it, and
I'm feeling like I should have had a look at this before we discussed it.
The stunning Punjabi prison. I quickly bring up.
It sounds fantastic.
Punjabi prison. I'll just bring up an image.
I'll try and describe what I'm seeing.
So literally, if I just post Punjabi prison match into our Discord channel,
send it over on Discord, and I'll try and describe what I'm seeing.
The stunning structure. Just Google that way and click images.
We're doing it live.
And
bear with us. You keep talking.
So yeah, I guess I can spoil it now because it's been a week. The match ended by the originator of the match, the wrestler that started it all, the Great Khali, 7 foot tall Punjabi beast of a man. He strutted out to the ring and prevented Randy Orton from escaping. And I just remembered how Randy Orton was prevented from escaping. He climbed over the top of the thing. His whole body was outside of the cage. You know, his whole entire body. And he was just grabbing on, about to climb down. And the Great Khali began shaking the bottom of the cage, which caused Randy Orton to sort of flip-flop back into the ring and fall.
Sounds very gamey.
Like a horrible game physics as he was magneted back up into the ring. He could have just climbed out over the audience, and then you wouldn't have been able to catch him because you can't get around there. And just if he stood in the audience, he would have escaped. No, yeah.
Needs to be fully tense though, Dan.
So you're now looking upon the glory, the awesome spectacle that is the Punjabi.
I'm looking at this. Yeah, it's very. It is quite the spectacle. It's sort of a square-shaped inner cage made with the what looks like bamboo and things, and a sort of a hexagonal outer cage placed over the top.
Yeah, it covers all the normal place where you'd walk outside the ring, like where the cameramen go.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge.
It would have
been quite impressive to behold. It would have
looked impressive if you were there in the audience and you looked at that crazy thing. You might not be able to see anything because that's in the way, but you know.
Or the two cages sort of lacing over each other and blocking everything from view.
But you've always got the Titantron. The cameramen are in there.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Just keeping out of shot. It's a fun and entertaining change of pace when you got there's only so many storylines you can do in wrestling, and so when they throw out something quite crazy and bizarre like this, it shakes things up.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting.
Uh,
I can say that as a non-wrestling fan. So it's actually look quite entertaining.
I think other than that, and the build up to SummerSlam, we're always going to want to be seeing SummerSlam. SummerSlam will have Brock Lesnar again, and we all love Brock Lesnar.
I think if you're a non-wrestling fan and you don't know who Brock Lesnar is, you've been living under a rock.
A Rock Lesnar.
The Rock Lesnar.
I'm looking at these Google images, and I can see an amazing Punjabi prison match toy set. That looks stunning. Just a load of yellow coloured cage.
That's fun for the kids.
Otherwise, in the world of wrestling, it seems like YouTube might have unblocked wrestling from being unadvertiser friendly. That had been a big issue since March.
Yeah, I think it's because of the violence, wasn't it?
It was just one big fell swoop when people were posting terrorism supporting videos on YouTube. The advertisers were flocking in the adpocalypse. YouTube, sort of in a Twitch knee-jerk reaction, just kind of blocked everything that seemed vaguely unfamily friendly, even if it, in practice wasn't.
I have to add that we were unaffected by the adpocalypse.
Oh, you mean our stunning channel?
Chiefly because we don't get enough views. But anyway, moving on.
We were affected by a completely different change.
Yeah.
They've another YouTube channel, WCPW, who make a weekly show. They had to take that off the air because they couldn't afford to run it anymore. It was supposed to be free, and if it's free, it's going to be paid for by ads, hasn't it? And if there are no ads, then there's no show.
It's the terrible thing about the YouTube apocalypse. Is a lot of content has just disappeared where creators can't afford to make it anymore. But it all seems to be starting to sort itself out, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, touch wood. That show is starting again on Friday. So, Friday as of the recording of this podcast, which is end of
July.
So on Friday they'll be putting their shows back on again. So we're making progress again. The
Fingers
terrorists
crossed.
aren't going to ruin everything.
Yeah, the terrorists aren't going to ruin Facebook, YouTube,
everything
for us all.
Right.
Everything. We're not going to let them win.
No, we're not. We're going to wrestle them to the ground. That's everything
Speaking
I've
of
got to say. Yep.
Speaking of wrestling them to the ground, let's move on and talk about drinks.
Oh, you brought a drink with you there? Some light refreshment for the show?
Yes, it's the final section of the podcast, which has been going a lot longer than I anticipated. We do like to waffle. I've brought along a couple of drinks to just try and hit, and this is how we tie in the content with the rest of the channel.
An ecosystem.
Yeah, all comes full circle. So I've got a couple of drinks here to try. Just to start with, I've brought along an energy drink to try.
Good old energy.
It is called Tenzing, and is, I believe, was named after a mountaineer Sherpa.
Oh, so, climbing up Mount Everest.
Yeah, it's supposed to give you
I guess it's supposed to give you
the energy to walk up the Himalayas.
Would that be a good idea, to drink energy drinks and become a bit
and then climb a mountain?
You'd be needing to go to the toilet all the time, and you'd be horribly dehydrated.
Hopped up on caffeine.
Perhaps we shouldn't take it too literally.
No. I'm going to read the little bit of a blurb on the back of the
Okay.
on this drink. It says, to create Tenzing natural energy, we travelled the world to find the highest quality ingredients. On our journey, we stumbled across the energizing brew of the Himalayan Sherpas. This inspired both our recipe and our name, chosen in honor of the late Sherpa Tenzing Norgay, one of the first two men to reach the summit of Mount Everest. We are proud to work closely with his family on environmental projects.
Whoa.
A natural sparkling energy drinks. A natural sparkling energy drink with herbal extracts and natural flavorings. So this is based on an ancient Sherpa recipe.
Wow.
So
They brewed this back in the ancient times.
it gives you a nice little list of the key ingredients as well. So I'm going to read these out. See how delicious these sound.
Mm-hmm.
Green tea.
Okay.
Green coffee.
Green coffee. Wow.
Guarana.
A delicious guarana.
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice.
Beet sugar. And Himalayan rock salt.
Okay, so there's no taurine in there. Because taurine's like the worst of the ingredients, I think.
Yes, looking at the actual ingredients list, it's there's no taurine.
Ginseng, I think somewhere. I can't remember if that's the least worst of the energy.
Yeah, there's no ginseng. It literally, reading the actual ingredients, it just has the ingredients I mentioned and sparkling water.
Okay. So I'm a bit concerned this might taste a bit green tea-ish, which therefore it would be a bit rank and bitter, tasting like dishwater. But
well, this could taste like green tea with coffee and beets and lemons in it, and salt. So
salty dishwater. Okay, got you.
Salty green tea with beets and lemons.
What colour is the can?
It's a really pleasing sort of pale blue with a mountainscape on it.
Oh, that sounds
It's good. Tenzing, Tenzing.
Zing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm gonna crack it open and give it a whiff.
Ah, yes, like a weave of water. Looks refreshing from the design.
It smells vaguely lemony, I think. Yeah, it just smells a bit lemony, and I'm not smelling any tea. It's very sweet on the nostrils. Very sweet and lemony on the nostrils. Actually, no, there is a slight back end of green tea in there.
Uh-oh.
Or something like that. But it doesn't actually smell that good. It just smells like extremely sweet, slightly lemony and green tea-ish. Oh well, I'll have a sip and let you know. Ugh. Ugh.
Is it that good?
It's really weak.
It's just a horrible muted flavour. Does it taste of rank dishwater?
You know, that might be a really good way to describe this.
Well, yeah, I guess my...
It's got a very muted sort of green tea. A very muted lemon. An overwhelming sweetness that isn't... It's not like Red Bull overwhelming sweetness. Because if you imagine you turn all the flavours down so they're nice and muted, but the sweetness is the one that sticks out the most.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rank.
And it's sparkling.
I guess it's one of those you just have to put a lot of money down and keep drinking it so you get used to it.
And I can taste the salt. It's not a bad saltiness, but there's an extra flavour in there that I couldn't quite put my finger on until I realised there's salt in this.
Delicious.
I'm pretty sure that's what I'm tasting.
So you're going to finish that off now during the rest of the...
Am I heck? That is disgusting.
In the sink with it.
Very muted, very watery, a little bit lemony, a little bit tea-ish,
How much
a
that
little bit
cost?
salty. That cost me £1.49.
Oh, how big is the can actually? Is it a 300 ml
It's your
can?
standard sort of Red Bull size can.
250 ml. Okay.
Yeah, 250 ml little energy drink can.
£1.50 for that.
Yeah. That's £1.50 I'll never get back.
Nope.
Although I do have another drink to cleanse my palate with. I'm just going to take a sip of water, and then we'll move on to my...
What are you going to have now? You have the food item or drink item?
Oh, you spoiled the fact that I have a food item to try.
Well, you know me.
Yeah, I bought these... I don't think they're particularly new, but they're new to me. I've not really tried them before. It's, Rocky chocolate bars.
Oh, yes, I know. Rocky?
They have a peanut butter flavour Rocky.
Oh,
It
okay.
comes in a nice sort of baby blue packaging. So I've pulled one out of the packet here. It says "Fuel for Big Adventures." It's a tiny little sort of lunchbox sized, fits in the palm of your hand, little
Yeah. I
chocolate
reckon
candy bar.
that tastes alright. Peanut butter version of that.
Yeah, I can't see this tasting bad at all. So I thought I'd give it a go. You pull it out of the package, it looks like a long brown Rocky bar.
I can't imagine it being any different visually.
No, it just looks like a standard sort of
Candy bar shaped
we
candy
put
bar.
chocolate on this candy bar. Yeah. So I'll have a little nibble.
And you're munching your way through that biscuit in the middle.
Oh yeah. Ooh, that's very very good. Mm. It's got sort of a digestive biscuit base, or like a graham cracker
Ah,
sort of
Graham
base,
cracker.
graham cracker
Yes, I said cracker, not
with
cracker.
with a slightly firm but still smooth and creamy peanut butter. They've hollowed out the base to make like a trough, which they've put the peanut butter in.
Oh, okay. I was a bit concerned they might remove some of the caramel at the top, which would have
There's no
weakened it a bit.
caramel. There's no caramel. It's just like a digestive biscuit with a trough in,
Alright.
and they've layered on some peanut butter into that trough, and then wrapped the whole thing in chocolate. And I have to say, that's really really nice.
That's good. That sounds
Yeah,
promising. Is it
definitely.
soft peanut butter or hard peanut butter?
It's got a firmness to it, to where it won't squidge, but it's smooth and creamy in the mouth.
Let's
So
try
it's
one then.
very yeah, it's very very good. I'd definitely give that a go. It's not like as firm as when you eat a Reese's peanut butter cup. And it's not as sweet, the peanut butter. It's a saltier peanut butter, like an English peanut butter,
Yeah.
like we get over here. Not like that sugary stuff that they have in the States.
Oh, States chocolate.
Stateside peanut butter. It's very very sweet. A little bit too sweet for me, but yeah, that's really nice. I could happily stick one of them in my lunchbox. Well, I don't have a lunchbox, but
What?
I could
Oh, you're
stick one of them
breaking
in
the
my
illusion.
pocket. Stick one of them in my pocket and take it to work and snack on that with a cup of tea.
Ah, yeah.
Definitely. And for my final food item, or drink item as it is, I'm going to get my Beerus Faction.
Beerus faction. Beerus
Beerus
faction.
Faction.
Beerus faction.
Beerus Faction. We nailed it. Nailed it.
You're finally going to be doing Beerus faction. Incredible.
Yep, I've wanted to do a little bit of a side show called Beerus Faction for a while. Had a couple of failed attempts at filming it where the footage didn't save properly, even though I'd filmed it in the exact same way as I'd film everything else. It's just a horrendous nightmare.
And you never know,
So
this
I'm
could
fine.
be the latest failed attempt, but done and aired to you anyway.
It's going to be fine. So I've bought this nice little. I bought a 4 pack of these. So if it's horrible, I've got 3 more. It's a beer by BrewDog. Um, I enjoy most of BrewDog's beers. It's called Electric India.
Ooh,
It's
Electric
described as a
India.
vibrant hoppy saison, and the alcohol by volume is 5.2%. So it's not very strong. It's got a
It's
nice sort of.
stronger than your base lager. It's about as strong, almost as strong as a oh,
It's stronger than an. It's stronger than a lot of old English ales and lagers. But
like a
I tend
super
to find
strength lager,
craft
which
beer.
is 5% or more.
Yeah, I tend to find craft beer is a lot stronger normally. So as far as craft beer goes, this is like somewhere in the middle. I tend to find they're between 4.5 and like 7%. So
Yeah,
and then this is a saison based on an IPA. So
it's gonna be
it comes in a very pleasing sort of that starburst pattern, a sunburst pattern that the people used to have on guitars back in the 90s, where it was red and it burst out to yellow.
yes.
That's kind of the look they've gone for on this can. Where it starts off a very vibrant burnt orange at the bottom and goes up to a nice pale sunny orange at the top.
Ah,
It's a nice can.
does it bring you in?
I've got my beer drinking glass here, so I'm going to pour this out, and this is in a can. So,
All right,
do you
guys.
hear that?
Theatre of the mind.
Let's uh, let's pour this in there. I'll make sure we get every sound. This is an audio format. You hear that pouring in? Maybe not.
A distinct, slight gurgling sound.
So slowly pour this in. Don't want to overhead it.
I can
There we
maybe
are.
hear the slight sound of the fizzing.
Maybe put it near my mic. No, I
Oh,
don't think it's
I
fizzing.
heard it for a split second.
So this is a lovely sort of clear golden colour. I put my fingers behind the glass and I can see my fingers a nice yellow behind. So it's a lovely clear golden colour with a perfect sort of paper white head on top, like a lovely white head.
Ah.
So it's basically what you expect from this type of beer.
If I saw that beer, would I have any distinct impression on this beer? What do you think?
It's not a urine yellow colour, I'll give it that.
Ah, that's alright.
It's like a golden yellow. If I hold it up to my the light here in my room, it's a nice orangey golden colour. I like it. And on the nose, it's very hoppy, slight citrusy, just hoppy and citrusy. Yeah, I'm not getting much else with that one. So very fruity, hoppy.
How big a head are you getting on that? Is it big, thick with foam, thin with foam?
The head is quite thick, but it holds a nice head, but the head itself is quite thin.
Yeah.
So it's very, very large bubbles in the head. So I've poured myself half a pint of this, so in my lovely glass. So it smells really good. Slightly, there's a smell I can't put my finger on. I'm getting the hops and the fruit, and there's another scent in there I can't put my finger on, but I'll give it a taste, see what it's like. Ooh.
So I'll do some acting of the mind.
That's very. It's got that nice sharp bitterness that an IPA has.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoy. It's like I want to say almost grassy was the other scent I was getting. Almost not earthy, but like fresh grassy sort of tones that, as well as the fruitiness and the sharp bitterness. Very, very smooth to drink.
That sounds pleasant.
It's not too thin in the mouth either. It's quite thin because it's a very light ale, but
How
not so thin that you think you're drinking water.
how burny is it? I always get put off by a beer that singes the mouth.
It's quite bitter, so it has some of that slight. I want to say that. Yeah, I know what you mean by burning. I wouldn't describe it as burning, but
Hmm.
that's probably the best way I'm going to describe it for the moment. It does have that sharp sort of hits all your taste buds and makes them all go ooh all at once. That very bitter beers do. I quite enjoy that sensation. So
Would you have this for your first drink of the night if you were going to have a couple beers? Or would
yeah,
you
I'd
have
have
it
that.
later in the night?
I think I'd happily drink one or two of those. If I'm just sat at home, I'd have that. I'd chill that down. Not too cold because
Hmm.
it would lose a lot of its flavour. But I'd cool that down enough on like a nice hot summer evening and sit and sip one or two of these quite easily. It seems very drinkable and it's not too strong, so you can get away with drinking a couple.
Oh, sounds pretty good. What kind of
Obviously not before driving though.
Oh, no, it's a perfect beer to drink before driving. No, seriously, don't drink and drive.
No, don't drink before driving.
How
Stay in school,
beerified
kids.
are you? What's your beerification rating?
On a scale of 1 to totally beerified,
Yeah.
which isn't a number, so I'm just going to say to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give this a. On a fair scale of 1 to 10, I should reiterate,
And just
where
remind
1
us, what's
is.
the name of this drink again?
This is a Brewdog Electric India.
Ah.
So, me personally, I would, on a fair scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is rubbish, 10 is perfect, I'd
Yeah.
probably give this around about a 6.5, sort of like that. So it's not my favourite, but it's above average, definitely.
A strong
Very
contender.
yeah, it's it's not up there, but I'd drink it again. I'll definitely be enjoying the rest of the 4 pack that I bought anyway.
Good, good. That's a good start to Beer's Faction.
Beer is faction.
Beerified yet.
Hoping to make that into a permanent segment in the podcast.
So
And,
I'm going to get beerified each and every time. And now he's destroyed
not.
his liver on energy drinks and beer. I think it's about time we wrap up the show. And
I think it's about that time.
briefly, I can say coming up on the channel.
Yeah, what have we got coming up this in the next few weeks?
Next few weeks, I've done another Dan's Big Eats, tasting that famous Samyang hot chicken ramen. And so that's like
Ramen.
one of them hot ones that people actually bothered doing little YouTube challenges about.
It's quite a famous one, that one, isn't it?
So I'm gonna, in the video, I'm gonna give it a try, and we can find out just what I make of it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. What have I got coming up? I have got coming up a light bite of an Indonesian product. So I'm not going to say much more than that because
got a tease, yeah.
we completely give it away, and you'll probably guess what my reaction would be. So, but no, it's an Indonesian product, and it sounds like this.
There you go.
So there you go.
Exciting looking look ahead.
Yeah, and we've also got in the pipeline, we're going to start working on shortly this year's Halloween episode of Seriously Hungry.
It's not that close to Halloween yet, but we have to get started pretty early to get these done.
We'll have a couple more podcasts. Have a couple more podcasts in the meantime. Hopefully, provided this one goes over well.
Can take fruition. A seriously hungry episode usually takes, could take up to a month. So we don't just film these on Halloween.
Yeah, so a lot of editing work goes into that behind the scenes, and we're very grateful to Dan for doing that for us.
I am hoping.
We being me.
I am hoping for this Halloween episode, and there's no guarantees yet, but it's something I'm looking into. That this might be the first show we make in full 4K, but that's sort of
won't that be exciting?
I want to try.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Update
give that
you
a
on
go.
that on the next podcast to tell you how we're going on with that.
Yeah, the next episode should be in a couple of weeks' time. I'm not sure exactly which day of the week we're gonna put this up on.
It's very experimental. Odds are, I'm probably just gonna check this through, clip the beginning and end, and put it live. It's not going to be a massive work of editing this one.
No, so this should probably go up in. And if it doesn't go up, I'd say either. What are we on Sunday now? So this will be up by Tuesday.
Yeah.
So and it'll either be a Monday or Tuesday slot probably when the podcast goes up. We're hoping for every fortnight, so maybe 2 a month.
Yeah, it's definitely not ironclad yet, but it's something we're gonna try. Do our damnedest.
It's either going to be every 2 weeks or it's going to be at least 2 a month. So there might be times when there's 3 weeks between.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks between, depending on what we decide. So anyway, this has been episode 1 of the Not Quite Serious podcast. So we hope everyone who listened enjoyed. Do let us know if we rambled too much on any of the topics, and we can cut it down and be a bit more concise next time. But yeah. So say goodbye, Dan.
Goodbye, Dan.
Oh.